Hi, thank you for being here at day 3 of Find Your Soulmate Challenge. I'm Freddie Martin.
And I'm Wayne Martin. Thanks for joining us. This is great. Today's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But before we get going on actually working on getting your soulmate, figuring out who that is and all the things around that, let's do a little review. Number one, have you downloaded your workbook? It's in the Facebook section and in the guide section in Facebook. So you'll want to definitely download this and have it here for you, especially day 3, because that's really where we're going to work on, really putting it all together. So let's do a little homework.
Yeah.
Let's find out how you did. So yesterday we talked about the 4 different language styles that people have. And so how did that go?
Yeah, we have the passive, aggressive, and assertive. And then we have the 5th level, which is where you are able to hold the space for somebody else when they're going through their stuff. And then that person is supposed to hold the space for you when you're going through yours. And that's more of an advanced way of communication. So hopefully you get a chance to decide which one you are, and also took a look around with your friends and family and people you work with and possible other relationships to decide which are they.
Yeah, exactly. Which are they? The other thing is, when is that your language style really helped you and develop relationships and really gone deeper with people? That's one of the questions that you really want to work on identifying. Then the other one is, what are the different tough, difficult relationships you've had because of the different types of communication styles? So I would really spend a little bit of time on that on your own. That's super important. And then really start thinking about what is 5th level communication in a relationship. Because when you get out of that romance stage, you start going into that power struggles stage, or you're having difficult conversations, are you able to be able to hold that space for that other person and then come out the other side with effective, positive communication? So great.
They also had our bonus, the Ford.
Yeah, let's talk about Ford. So did everybody download this? The Ford technique. So Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And hopefully you got a lot out of that. You'll never have to have a conversation that's slow, awkward, or silent.
Yeah, nothing worse than sitting there staring at each other.
Yeah.
With nothing to talk about. So the Ford is really great. We use it a lot, and it's helpful in all areas of your life when you're in conversation with people, getting to know them.
All right. So let's get going on day 3. So day 3, Find Your Soulmate Challenge. Here we go. So let's start with the big 4. We always want to use this as a basis in communicating and finding the people that we want to have a great conversation with them in our lives. So people want to be seen, people want to be heard, people want to be understood, and they definitely want to be valued. So with that in mind, we always want to keep that in the back of our mind when we're dealing with everybody.
So we're going to do a dream board, and this is about profiling yourself, number 1, and then number 2 is who is your dream partner. So myself personally, after I went through my 3rd divorce and I decided that I needed to get some help, I needed to get it figured out, one of the things I did is that I did do a dream board of what I wanted in my partner. My prior partners didn't have sisters. They were always from a family of all boys. And one of the things on my dream board was that my guy had to have a sister, because I wanted him to understand women in all their glory. Because your sister is not going to be, because what's happened is that they kind of idealize what a woman is, and it was really important for me that they understood that girls are girls, and not to have a high expectation of me that was not realistic. The other thing I wanted somebody who is spiritual. That was very important to me. I wanted them to have a job. That was important. And then I had this whole list of other qualifications. But that's what this is about, is for you to really think about exactly who you want to be in relationship with and how that affects how your attributes will coincide with theirs.
I think the thing that happened for me that really helped me is I had to really think about what I was doing when I was approaching a relationship. I'd been married before. Then soon after that, I met a great woman. We did a blended family thing, but I really didn't go in consciously, and I didn't really understand that what I would need for a long-term relationship was going to be very different than just being very attracted to someone, finding them very interesting, having a lot of different things that were compatible. But when it really came down to where I was at with timing, where I was at with my career, all the different things that were going on, it just really didn't. It was just poor timing, didn't really work. And we had very different belief systems about very specific things that really brought an end to that relationship and some outside circumstances. So I think the thing that's really important when you're looking at your potential mate is, am I playing a short game or am I playing the long game? Because when you start thinking about playing the long game, you're going to have this person in your life and you start asking really intelligent questions about your personal attributes. Are they compatible with that other person? Do they have attributes that can sustain a loving long-term relationship through thick and thin? What's your communication styles? You need to review that. There's in the 4 that we talked about, the first 3 can really put an end to a relationship if you don't have the 4th, which is being able to be assertive. That's super important. And also, do they have the ability to go into that 5th level communication? And that's going to take some introspection, some new learning, some new skills to be able to go on. So those are things that you really need to think about. The other thing is looking at that compatibility profile is super, super important.
Yeah.
Understanding your profile, number 1, is the most important thing, and not trying to modify it, just being dead honest about, who am I? What am I like from lifestyle standpoint?
Yeah.
What are my goals and all that other stuff? And then to really look at, is my profile compatible with the other person?
And understand what you're bringing to the relationship too. What's your strengths that you're bringing, and really look at what, like for me, I had a whole list of stuff, but I had a very few that were absolute must-haves. And what's interesting is to take a look at that and go, I must have this, and then ask yourself why. Why must I have that?
Right, must I have that? Is that something that's going to be a real problem in the relationship if this other person can't live with that must have, or I can't either? And we actually call that a divorce court irritant. You don't want to be going there. Or can it be something that's what we would call a humorous tolerance?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 attributes that are no-goes and whys. You really need to take a deep look into that. We've been touching upon that.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, because I had been married to an addict, for me, anybody who was addicted to anything was an absolute no-go. Anybody who was not willing to have counseling and get help if they needed it, that they weren't open for therapy, that was an absolute no-go for me.
Right.
So there are some things that you need to look at and just go, no go. And the reason I'm so strong about that is because I went into my 3rd marriage and I overlooked all kinds of stuff because he had beautiful blue eyes.
Well, and he
was romantic.
And you were lonely.
And I was lonely. I was very lonely. So for me, I didn't look at those. I absolutely totally ignored all the warning signs. So then when I finally got educated on how to choose a partner, that's when I had very distinct no-goes also, and why they were.
Right. And so when you're also profiling, one of the things that you want to look at is, what's diametrically opposed. If I'm kinesthetic and I'm going to be with somebody that's highly visual, yakking all the time, I'm a yacker, you just know that there's going to be conflict there. Can you work through that? Super, super important. Now, Freddie and I are diametrically opposed in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like in our master class, we go into I forms and we forms. So I'm very individualistic in my decision making, and Freddie is more about the group has to be a part of that, and it has to work for everybody. And it isn't that it doesn't have to work for everybody for me, but as an I form, I'm going to approach those decisions very differently, and it can create some friction.
Yeah.
And but the fun thing about it is we made that our superpower. Originally, it was like, oh, somebody pointed that out to us, and then we kind of had to work through it, and then it became a strength, and now it is actually our couple superpower.
Absolutely.
Really, really cool. But that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. So what are your no-goes? Definitely write them down, be clear about it, think, ponder on it. If you're in a relationship and you're just kind of putting up with things at this point, is this something that you can work through before you make a commitment? Or maybe you're committed, but you're here trying to figure it out. Are they truly your soulmate, the one? And figure out why. Okay, 3 skills you need to develop in order to guarantee your success in finding and then keeping your soulmate. How would these skills really improve your life?
Yeah. So like for me, when I decided that I was the problem and I needed to learn and get help, that the skills I needed is I needed to be able to be authentic. I needed to be not afraid to say who I was and what I needed, to not try to be this picture of what I would think somebody would want. I needed to be who I was. I needed to not modify my behavior to fit with that person, but to be genuine, because I wanted them to love me for who I was, not for who I pretended to be, which I'd done in the past. So for me, that was a very important skill, to learn to be super honest and to be authentic and to be transparent. Another skill I learned, well, I learned so many, it's like, but another one I learned was actually how to have clear communication, to be able to have deep conversations about things that were meaningful. I learned how to be able to hold the space when somebody was flipping out and freaking out and they were having some of their issues, how to be able to stay calm, not take it personally, and be there for them to help them go through that. And that works with everybody, friends, family, kids, parents. That's a really important skill. I mean, what skills were you learning?
What I was learning is to be able to have assertive type of language I feel I need, and to be able to hear somebody out and just not make snap decisions without having all the information and background of the situation. So that was very important to me. The way I grew up, my father was very aggressive, so I learned how to be aggressive back in order to survive, or be invisible, and then be passive aggressive, which is not a great way to move through relationships. Certainly doesn't help to build it. So I had to relearn those skills. The other thing that I had to learn was I had to learn how to be a little counterintuitive, because I would naturally be drawn to women that I would find exciting, wonderful, sexy, beautiful, all that. And then, the hormones would kick in, and we'd go right into oversharing, if you know what I mean. It would take a while, but the romance would start, and it would not be realistic about, is this a person that I could build a life with? And do they have the communication skills? The other thing that I had to learn is, this was a big one for me, that one of my therapists said that what you want to do is you want to go out with people long enough that you can see them under a difficult situation and watch them go through that situation. What is their communication style? Do they have the ability to step back and not just attack? Do they have the ability to see that other side, try to work through it? Because what happens if they're very aggressive or they don't communicate, that's going to be amplified 10 times in an intimate relationship. It's the best advice that I've actually ever gotten, because that really helped me to determine whether Freddie and I could be together, because I didn't want to be with a mean person, or I didn't want to be with a person that couldn't communicate with me. And the other thing is, if something happened like that, were they willing to go into couples therapy even prior to a commitment? And we both were, and that was super important, because if you're with a person that won't do that prior to a commitment, you're going to have a hard time having them, work with a professional, because you may need that in the future to really unravel things. And so you just really want to make sure that that's one of their attributes, that what we would call is a glib, a person that's willing to grow, willing to learn, willing to invest, and willing to build with you. Super, super. I can't tell you how important that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next. This is a really fun thing. This is where what I did is, when I had my dream board of who I was looking for, and I was very, very specific. And then what I would do, I would dream about what our life would be like. What I would not even do the future. I would feel what it felt like to be with this person. I would sit in meditation and actually feel the feelings of love and joy and all that closeness and sharing. And I would feel it, and I'd be very happy and blissful in that thing, because what you're really looking for is the feelings that you get, excuse me, when you have your soulmate with you, this person who's there through thick and thin, ups and downs, there to make you laugh, there to love on you. Because one day, I just read this thing, it was so fascinating to me. They were talking about the most important thing you find in your mate is your friend, because all the other stuff's going to go away. You're going to have health problems. You're going to have all kinds of different problems in life. You're going to get old together. It's all going to go away. But the greatest thing is if you can sit at a table together and have a cup of coffee and laugh and have a conversation and be your best friend. That's really, truly who you're looking for.
Right. If you're young and vibrant and beautiful and handsome, that's all well and good. But like somebody that we listened to, he said, if you want to know what your life's going to look like in the future, what you're going to be like, is just put an apple out on that windowsill for a couple of days. That's what this is going to turn into. So you don't want everything to be on, whether you're handsome, dashing, and exciting, and that's not realistic for the rest of your life. Are you beautiful? Are you powerful? All those things go away. And realistically, they could go away like that in a heartbeat. It's actually happened to me. I was very, very successful, and then things changed. I mean, it was massive, and it really put a stress on the relationship and on the marriage, and it just totally dissolved. Yeah. And it was really, really sad. We didn't have the communication skills. We had so many other things going for us, but that wasn't one of them. Yeah, sadly. So anyway, start feeling what that relationship would be like, because what you want to be able to do is be able to identify it. You go, oh, wow, that person, I'm getting all these feelings. That makes sense. I'm using my head, I'm using my heart, and I'm using my gut. Those are the three things you want to monitor when you're looking for your soulmate, not just your heart, not just your head, but also your gut. All right. So we've been talking about the definition of a soulmate. Super important. Start filling this out. Start building this whole idea and feelings around that. A lot of people do goals based upon, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, but truly feel into it. Feel what you want to feel. so you can identify it when they show up.
Right.
So what is our story?
Well, what happened with us, because I had my very distinct list of what I wanted, very clear, and then I did my meditation about, oh, this is what he feels like. Well, Wayne and I were friends for like a year and a half. We belonged to the same organization, and we belonged to a group of single people, and we would all go out together, single people, and which was a really great way to do it if you can get into group, because that's when you, like Wayne said, you get the chance to be able to watch them and how they respond. Are they kind to other people? Do they listen with interest? Are they a good fit for you? Because you're going to be able to see how they are with other people without it being a romantic relationship. You're just watching them, you're friends.
Right. Can they forgive easily?
Can they forgive easily? Yeah. And are they willing to listen to the other person's point of view and side of the story? So that was us for a year and a half. And then we were at an event one time, and he leaned in and to talk to me because it was really loud, and he leaned in and I could feel him. And I went, oh my gosh, I feel him. And because we were such great friends, but he's younger than I am. And there were all these other reasons why in my brain that I thought he would not be the person. And I went, oh no, I think it's Wayne. I think it's Wayne. And then we went out, we would go to dinner and then to a movie a couple times a month. And we in group, and we went to dinner, and the group didn't show up, but just Wayne and I. And that was before prior cell phones, and we couldn't call anybody to say, where are you? And we said, oh, we'll just have dinner, we'll go to the movies. And we were in the movies, he held my hand, and I just went, oh no, I think it's Wayne. So yeah, we had a lot of negotiating going on after that, because he was such a great friend. And I just said, oh man, I value our friendship so much more than anything else. Can you promise me that if we get into a romantic relationship that we can still be friends? And we've been married 29 years now, and we're still great friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The thing that was pretty funny is we both were just friends and not really on the radar, but on your list, you had a 10-year range, older than you or younger than
10
you.
Years younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave myself a 20-year span, because there's a lot of young people that are kind of old, and there's a lot of old people that are super young.
Right.
So I just thought, well, I just want somebody who has the same energy I do. I want to have a lot of energy, like to do things, like be very active. So I didn't care. If it could be a younger person, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have the same energy that I have, or it could be an older person that would have the same energy. So I was really more looking for energy than anything. I wanted to match mine.
Right. Right. And we're both, the other thing that really helped is we put ourselves separately in environments to learn and to grow. Myself personally, I had a lot of things that I had to deal with because of the way I grew up, and it was not a good influence on a healthy relationship. I could get hijacked at different times. I was used to being aggressive with in the business that I was in, dealing with all these men contractors and all this stuff. And so, learning how to modify that and going, oh, well, that's not really, you can get away with that in business, but you can't really get away with that in a healthy relationship. And I had to unwind a lot of stuff, but I was willing to do the work. And I think that really helped me to be healthy, when I was friends with Freddie, and she could see the growth and I could see her growth, because we really talked in depth about how relationships failed and what it took to make a good one. Yeah. And we were willing to do that. And so, we were willing to invest the money, we were willing to invest the time, and it wasn't cheap. A lot of this stuff you could run around and you could read books, you can do all that, but unless you are immersing yourself with people that have been there or they're great therapists, it's just so hard to win at that game. And even if you get some of it and you make a commitment, and then you're trying to figure out the compatibility, because people are attracted, they share, and then most people commit before they even know they're compatible. And compatibility is not just about your nature, your lifestyle, all that. There's a thing in our master class that we go through, and it's called the soulmate selection shield.
Yeah.
But we really address like what's called the wheel of life. You know, what is your interpretation of marriage? What's your interpretation of a husband? What's your interpretation of a wife? What's your interpretation or goal with career? How about finance? How about travel, health, um, mental health, physical health, diet, kids, blending families? We go through all these aspects just to have those serious conversations as you're going along in a relationship, so you know you're bomb-proofing that relationship if you make a commitment. It isn't that it's going to be perfect, but at least you've gone through step by step. Hey, I'm prepared to go into a committed relationship with somebody that is willing to grow with me, learn with me, invest and build with me. And that's what it takes, because change is going to happen, and you want to make sure you're with a person that can have your back and you can have theirs, and it's loving and fulfilling. And so your relationship doesn't suck 50% of the time. It's only good 50% of the time. It's like a 95%. It's freaking awesome. And 5%, yeah, it sucks, but we're going to work through it.
Yeah, we'll work through it.
Yeah. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and committed to pursue, you're willing to invest financially in your relationship, pre-relationship, and do the work, you know, you can always book an appointment with us. You can go to Relationship Nation and book an appointment. It's free. There's no obligation. Either Freddie and I would love to talk to you and see if there's a fit there, if we can help you find your soulmate. And we have a course and coaching that's called Find Your Soulmate Academy. So if that's something that would benefit you, just book an appointment through our calendar, and we'll get together. We'll have a little Zoom call and see if there's a fit there. And if we look forward to talking to you if you decide to go that direction.
And like they say, one call
can change it all.
Can change it all.
And that soulmate may be just around the corner, and we can help you with that. We've certainly been there. We have the hat, the cup, and the t-shirt, you know, for all those failed relationships, but we also have the great relationship for over 29 years and through thick and thin. And you can have the same thing too, and we can help you with that if that's something you would like to do. So go ahead and book a call with us. That would be great.
Okay.